That's not what I do when I speak. I look for the polishing points. Where did I mess up? Where did I need to do better? We look at what we're not doing very well to get better, which is a little counterintuitive, right? When I was a middle school principal in Kuwait, I had a performance appraisal similar to this. And part of the package was that I had 120 middle school teachers submit a survey about my leadership abilities. And they ranked me on things like communication, engagement, administrative qualities. Not quite sure what that means yet. But I didn't look at where I was scoring on top. I looked at where I was struggling to get better. I didn't look at what I was doing really well. What contributed to the outstanding marks? That's not what I looked at. But I probably should have. So how can you appreciate your success of the past and use it as a foundation to inquiry into the future? David Copywriter from Case Western Reserve University, I keep wanting a publishing company to that, started a research with Cleveland Clinic in 1980 to really look at that. What were the qualities that made Cleveland Clinic strong? But I have to back up a little bit because it started a few years before that. In 1968, 300 doctors at the Cleveland Clinic staged a revolt. They drafted a letter to the president of the hospital and said, we want to run this hospital from A to Z. There are people making decisions for this organization that have no business doing it. So we want to do everything. Accounting, maintenance, human resources, we're going to do it all. Which meant that the doctor had administrative duties in the morning, like maybe accounting or HR. And then after that, they were in surgery. They did that for a long time. Fast forward 1980, Copywriter comes in and Cleveland Clinic asked for them to do an analysis to get better. How can we be better? What are we not doing well? Where are the weaknesses in our organization? And Copywriter was looking at it like, you know what? This shouldn't work. Accountants aren't doctors. This shouldn't work. And it was working. It wasn't working great. I mean, it took them a long time to make a decision. It was a really labor-intensive process to get the management of that organization to be efficient because it was very flat. There wasn't a hierarchy. But it worked. So Copywriter and his gang said, you know what, we're not gonna look at what's not working. We're gonna only look at what's working. What's giving this organization life? Everything we're gonna look at, it's what's making it more powerful. We're not gonna look at the weaknesses at all. What did they discover? This organization had a commitment to consensus. They weren't gonna make any decision unless everybody agreed. Which was kind of hard because if you got a doctor who's trying to be an accountant and doesn't know very much, right? That takes time. If any of you were at my TLI a couple Saturdays ago, you'll know that making a decision with consensus in an organization is extremely time consuming. But Cleveland Clinic, that's what they were committed to do. They were committed to consensus and understanding and believing in the integrity of the professionals around them, that everybody wanted what was best for Cleveland Clinic. So that's all they looked at. So for 12 years, Copywriter's team looked at only the best, and that hospital just skyrocketed. Like they were doing great before, but they went phenomenal after. They're like number 2 in the world for cardiac care health. I know because they saved my mother-in-law's life twice. Phenomenal institution. And what was interesting, it was different than what most management companies had done. It's not what we usually do. We look at weaknesses, SWOT, weaknesses, threats, outside disruptive economies, right? We don't look at what we're doing good. That idea expanded to where Kofi Annan actually used it in his in that organization to really make an impact globally. Because in Drucker, a management leader, it's about aligning what we do well, so what we don't do well is irrelevant, right? We want to move into the future, the unknown, with parts of the past, right? That's what we do. The past is comforting. That's how we live our lives. Why don't we move forward with the best parts of your past, right? You don't want to move forward with the regret. Oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. Move forward with the best parts. So my activity to help you evaluate your communication experiences right now. I want you to think back at the most powerful, positive communication experience you ever had. Like you were on. Either you made a room full of people laugh, or you smiled in a loved one's eyes, but you were on it. Everything about that was perfect. I want you to close your eyes for a minute. I want you to remember everything about that moment. Who were you talking to? What were you talking about? What were you wearing? What did you eat that day? What was it about? Every single element. Remember the best. Now 3, open your eyes and bring it. Every element of that moment, that smile, that energy that you have, bring it to the next communication experience. That's what you want to bring. That's the appraise with praise that I want you to leave with today. Toastmaster.